Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top of Off Cricket Podcast. And as usual, we are talking everything West Indies cricket. I got my boys Sam and Walter with me tonight, and we're going to be talking about the Kevlar Anderson versus Sammy Permaul going to court to sort out this whole ball tampering issue that took place in the last match of the CPL, not the CPL, the West Indies First Class tournament. We're going to talk a little bit about the under-15s. Barbados handsomely won that. And we're going to chat a little bit also about the current breakout league that's taking place for local players, as in local West Indian players. Now, before we get into anything, there's something that took place a few days ago in Guyana. And I want to say something about it. You know, I think it's only respectful because it's captured the hearts of Guyanese, West Indians, and people further abroad. A young lady was brutally murdered in Guyana, Princess Adriana Young. I want to send condolences to her family. And listen, ooh, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But condolences to the family. I can't say stay strong because I'm not in your shoes. All right. But just know lots of people are praying for you. All right, fellas. Whereas Sammy Permaul and Kevlar Anderson have decided to take the ball tampering issue to court. Seems like they're not satisfied with how the matter was handled, and they're seeking recourse or redress at a different or in a different avenue. What are your thoughts, Sam?
Whoa, where to start? First, let me make this clear because this is a highly contentious issue. So we're going to have several people commenting on it and taking sides. I'm not here to take sides. Everyone who's been following this show knows that we are all Guyanese here, right? But that doesn't mean that we're picking a side or we're going to defend Guyana, right? So with that out of the way, let me start by saying that there have been several errors to begin with, in my view. Number one, I still don't understand why our players admitted to doing something that, from what I understand, they're saying, no, we did not tamper with the ball, right? I hear and I've read what they have said regarding, why is it they found it necessary to plead guilty, but I'm not sure I fully agree with that position, right? Then there's the issue of the captain, Tevin Imlach. From all I've heard from him thus far, very early in this situation, he has said, look, he saw nothing wrong with the ball. Okay? And so as the captain, I'm wondering, why didn't he interject and say to the fellas, no, hold your ground? I'm not sure how that discussion went or what was the situation there, right? But for now, I'm going to say perhaps the captain erred too on the field by not bringing greater control to say, look, there's nothing wrong with this ball and my players are not going to be admitting to anything. Okay? So a little more assertiveness from him, I think, was necessary at the time, based on what I've heard. Good? Coming down the line, Cricket West Indies made the biggest error of all and still continues to err in terms of procedures, right? We, the cricketing public, have not heard exactly what happened. What was the condition of the ball? What was the likely material used to change the condition of the ball? Yes? If we go back to 2018, everyone who's been following cricket for the last decade knows of the situation between Australia and South Africa in 2018, that third test match in Cape Town. where Cameron Bancroft, who was a relatively young player, probably it was his sixth or seventh test match or something like that. Steve Smith, right? And David Warner. Yes? From all indications, from what we saw on television and so on, Cameron Bancroft deliberately changed the condition of the ball using sandpaper. Yes? Came out. They admitted to what the situation was, including Steve Smith and David Warner, that they knew what was going on and so on. Yes? So here it is now, in the case of Guyana, we're saying that, okay, these young men pleaded guilty, but it just can't be that. If you're going to plead guilty, you have to state exactly what went on. So we can't just accept from them, oh, okay, you plead guilty, okay, fine, we take that and we're going to give you a fine. That's the easy way out. If you plead guilty, you need to say exactly what you did.
Based on what I read, they felt compelled to plead guilty, and that is one of the contentions.
Right.
You know, why they're going to court.
So there you go. So here again, West Indies has failed in terms of process. Let me take two more things. I'm going to go back to some months ago, and let me read a bit of information I pulled from Cricket Info on the Raymond Reefer and John Campbell issue. The Cricket West Indies release stated that the committee took the view that the procedure of bringing the charge was flawed and the matter therefore could not be heard, adding that the issues raised during Reefer's hearing informed the body's decision to withdraw the charges against Campbell. It is important to note the view is not pertaining to the merit of the charge, but rather the process of the charge being laid. So here again, I think the Guyana Cricket Board, and I'm not saying the Guyana Cricket Board is completely in the right or what have you here. I'm not picking a side. All I'm saying is we see a precedent being set from last year with that other
the Super 50 final.
Super 50 series and how it ended. Yes? And so the Guyana Cricket Board, I would say, is rightly questioning the process that was taken here. It is my understanding that Kevlon Anderson wasn't even granted a hearing. One last point. When this incident happened, I was leaving downtown Kingston, driving to go pick up my son. It's Friday afternoon. I'm in traffic. The radio is on. In fact, I'm listening to YouTube, so I'm getting commentary on the match. And so I'm hearing the commentators talking about this incident. And one of the things I remember distinctly is they said that Kevlon Anderson pulled his pockets, like saying, look, I don't have anything in my pockets. What are you talking about? That's the first thing which alerted me, like, yo, what's going on here? You see? So again, when we take all the things being said from a scientific perspective, what was the condition of the ball? What was the likely substance used to change the condition of the ball? And could it have been changed by any other thing on the field? We have people, if the ball go in the boundary, people pick the ball up with their hands and throw it back. Are we certain that umpires are properly looking at the balls and all of that when these things happen? I stop there.
Walter, what do you think brought us to this point?
I think what brought us to this point is that communication in West Indies cricket is a problem. And I think that we need to communicate, as Sammy alluded to, that West Indies Cricket Board need to be more open with their communication and what is being done, and every process. Because if you're bringing such a serious charge to cricketers, you must have enough information before the public is made aware. And because we're so divided, you create further divisions, further cracks in a very cracked West Indies cricket, especially at a time when we're not winning, and for the last 25 to 30 years, we've been at the mid to bottom at various stages. So I think the number one thing is there's a lack of communication and the lack of a clear understanding of what really transpired, as Sammy said earlier. And for a matter of fact, reading on the Instagram page at GCB's Instagram page, and I'll just read what the GCB is profoundly disappointed by the lack of due process, as Sammy spoke about, and deems the actions of the match officials, including the on-field umpires, as unprofessional, unethical, and a serious breach of procedural fairness. Right? And just going back, despite submitting, this is a Permaul and Kevlon. Written denials, and in Permaul's case, maintaining innocence during the hearing, the players felt coerced into, and this is serious, into pleading guilty. Disturbingly, Anderson was not even granted a hearing.
See, these are the things that someone that works in media and I were talking about recently, right?
Yeah.
The lack of transparency in this issue. There have been many other times where West Indies, Cricket West Indies, and the various territorial boards, when incidents have happened and you don't know what are the facts. Let me take it back a little bit. I think it was last year at some point, there was an incident with Kevin Sinclair and the GCB. And Sinclair had to leave camp. To a day like today, we don't know what transpired. What is the secret? You were broadcasting that he was sent home. But then you're not saying what happened. This is a West Indies cricketer. This wasn't only a Guyanese cricketer. He wasn't only representing Guyana at the time. He had already represented the West Indies. In a West Indies tournament, the onus was on Cricket West Indies to say, okay, this is what took place. Both organizations, the GCB and the Cricket West Indies. Now, to the point of Kevlon and Veerasammy Permaul, I said it recently, if Cricket West Indies do not get on the front foot where this issue is concerned and put the facts out there, why were these players charged? Why were they fined? Or why were they found guilty and fined? Why? Now, and I said it, if they don't do what they need to do, they're going to leave the door ajar for things of this nature. I don't think Dr. Kishore Shallow and Miles Bascom and anyone involved with this process can sit and say, you know what? We didn't err. Then they would need to check themselves. Because now you have a young man who possibly in the next few weeks could be named to the West Indies squad to play against Australia, or within the next year. We know for sure he'll be playing against South Africa A.
South Africa, yeah.
You understand? So for all intents and purposes, he's a West Indies player in the waiting. So now if he doesn't get selected...
Yeah, the other thing too is, we have younger cricketers that are aspiring to play for West Indies cricket, right? Play for Guyana senior team, play for Trinidad senior team, Jamaica senior team, what have you, right? They need to know as early as possible what things are not condoned, what things are a no-no. Because like I said the last time, when you look at a cricket match, fielders are looking to change the conditions of the ball. That has been happening for a long time. But some actions have been accepted, as we all know. You shine one side of the ball, okay, cool. Don't have any mint or anything, and then, right? But just be clear, what happened to the ball? What was the condition of the ball? Because I would hope that the ball was secure in some I don't know, box or something and properly labeled, and so we can scientifically look at the ball. But yet you
Yeah,
have people in this region who, oh, Guyana cheat, Guyana cheat. But they don't know what happened to the ball, you know.
And that's the
In the
problem.
case again of South Africa versus Australia, the world knows that sandpaper was used
and
to
the truth
tamper
is,
with the ball.
the truth is like I decided to just bring that up while you spoke about it, and you could see a clear example of sandpaper being Cameron Bancroft actually having sandpaper in his right hand, and it was
There
actually
you
yellow.
go.
You could see the literal color of the
There
sandpaper.
you go.
So it's not so at the end of the day, and you actually saw the part when I was looking at a video while you were talking, just to remind myself, you could actually saw the streak where the
Yeah.
sandpaper, like the part where you put. So you could actually see that. So if that has happened, we these are the things we could say. This is the ball. This is what happened. Yes, it might embarrass a young man and a old and a senior player, but at the end of the day, if this actually happened, just do it. Just say,
Yeah.
you know what? We don't have conclusive evidence, and we're gonna, it's not enough. We're gonna draw this back and just leave this alone. We're gonna make sure that we have to give the umpires and the players and just come out to say something. That say something. That's the problem.
The whole issue here,
Clear, clear. Yeah.
the whole issue here, Cricket West Indies have left this up to people speculating what has happened. And now you have some people saying, oh, Guyana cheated, and it's a Trinidad thing, it's a Guyana thing. Because you had a Trinidadian match referee also who was Sir Dragonat. You understand?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have to think about all these things, all these factors. Take the speculation out of the game. At what point in time was the condition of the ball changed? What action did you notice? What did you see? What brought about the conversation between you and the players with regards to changing condition of the ball? Don't
You know
just
what, people?
don't just leave it out there.
You know what, Kevin, and why this is so is the word that we hear so much in West Indies cricket, insularity.
Yeah,
We have to understand that we are in a region, even though there's a larger black population, a lot of us were dropped off on different islands. Over the years, we have our own cultures and ideas, and with nationalism involved, and we always promote our Guyanese or our Trinidadian or whatsoever. So, as leaders in the Caribbean cricket, we need to understand that it's part of West Indies cricket, and people will say things, and these things will further divide us. And I don't think that. I mean, I would hope that Kishore Shallow and others understand that and would try to address whenever an issue comes out, address that so that the insularity does not raise its heads. That
yeah,
is not.
because you're trying to be. There's need for transparency.